So, Mark, we're on problem 6. We're nearly at the end of the road. We've called this one Business Change Freeze. And we talked a little bit last week about the business getting into a hole, calling off all of the dogs in the business and just focus on fixing systems. So this is kind of a nice follow-up to that. So talk to us about the Business Change Freeze and what it means.
Yeah, and I think we talked earlier about a lot of these legacy systems are almost like ticking time bombs. You're running out of kind of, the amount of times you can extend support with a given supplier. So often it feels like these projects are forced on top of the business, that it is IT or finance or the governance within the organization saying you must move off this system and move to a new system. And the business will be going, but this is critical. I'm running my business on it. And the projects become about mitigating risk, not adding value, right? And at times IT have got a bad name for focusing just on risk and compliance and regulation and to be slow rather than focusing on business change. And I think that's changed a lot over the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of great books about how to structure teams to make sure that they are aligned with business value, kind of streamlined teams that are measured and are working in concert with the business, not against it. And that's great, and that's the approach that should be taken. But how can you apply that when you've got a large legacy system that is going to take in the planner's mind many, many months to deliver, right? And what you can't do is say to the business, tread water for 6 months, 12 months while we change the legacy system. And, if I was in the business and any IT team came to me and say, we're going to have to pause adding any business value because we need to spend 6 months kind of bringing the application up to a certain standard, I'd be asking them to go back to the drawing board and rethinking those plans. We cannot kind of freeze business value for 6 months or 12 months while we change the application, right? Any business now, especially if they've got a sort of a digitally facing, arm to that, any freeze will severely hamper the business, right? So we have to, within IT architecture and IT planning, we need to find a way of being able to continually add business value as we change these legacy systems. And, Big Bang is not the way to do that, to go away and come back with, here's the new system, right? We've got to break it down. We've got to incrementally change it. We've got to make sure the business understand the value of changing that legacy system. Now, that might be opportunity cost of these are the things you can't do if you stay on this system. Or they might be very sort of value focused of here's the innovation we're going to bring as part of that. And this is where I get disappointed when transformation programs end up turning into just a like for like, right? Now, if like for like is the minimum viable product and the first thing you do, yeah, okay, maybe that's acceptable, but it shouldn't be the vision. It shouldn't be the end game for that transformation to give the business what they had before, and when we do a transformation and a migration of saying we're going to take from A and we're just going to upgrade to B, it kind of loses the opportunity to add value as you go along. If you're breaking down that architecture and if you're saying in this area now, we've separated out your digitally facing system, let's work with your digital directors and your commercial teams about how better you want to engage with your customers, get your goals in and see how we can do that as we transform your legacy. You're a lot closer to almost getting the business on board with why you want to transform the legacy. If it becomes, just about compliance and, you're turning IT into a cost center, you're just saying, give us this funding and we'll maintain the same level of service. And that's a slippery slope into the business kind of looking at different applications, shadow IT, low code applications. And then you've got the integration headache of fitting those in. So that joint team still applies to legacy transformation products, I think.
I think what's really interesting in that from a client perspective, so, we deliver for our clients in conjunction with them as a partnership. I think what we're talking about is taking those small chunks and cutting them up. There's a joy in it, right? Because we get to see the incremental wins. We get to build trust with our key strategic partners. And I think, without blowing our own trumpet, we are known as deliverers, right? That's exactly what we do. And we know that with the other kind of global SIs that we deal with other clients, it's not always seen the same, So I think getting into that rhythm of delivering successful products that we can iterate on in a quick fashion is absolutely key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's how you iterate through this. And I worked with a large organization probably 10 years ago now, actually, who launched a large transformation product with a large kind of systems integrator. And they had the analogy of changing the wheels on the car as it was moving, not doing a pit stop. And whilst the kind of the aim of that message was right, it's different in a digital world, really. We do not need to change those wheels while the car's moving. We can run things in parallel, We can build an MVP of a new car and maybe transfer the engine across or transfer parts of it. We do a lot of work with products like Launch Darkly for feature flagging to make sure that our product set can meet two needs, an old requirement and a new requirement, or can roll things out gradually, and that is really, really common feature flagging in new product developments. People rarely think about it within kind of legacy transformations. They just want to get a like for like, get the project done and move on. Whereas if we think about, well, how can we have the legacy coexisting with the new systems, and how can we transition across as it adds value to the business, that all of that planning, in my experience, is well worth it, and make sure you add business value as you move along, and and allow the business to iterate with you, to that new system.